Notre Dame and Georgia playing for the final spot in the semifinals, and a big play at the end of the first half. After kicking a field goal to make it 6-3, Notre Dame gets the ball right back. A strip sack. Gunnar Stockton sacked by R.J. Oben, forcing the fumble, and the Fighting Irish recover. 31 takeaways for Notre Dame this season, most in FBS. Next play, Riley Leonard to Bo Collins, touchdown Notre Dame, and a 10-point halftime lead. Opening kickoff of the second half. Notre Dame's Jaden Harrison returns it 98 yards for a touchdown. Fighting Irish go on to win it 23-10 and advance to the Orange Bowl to play Penn State in the semifinals. And for more, welcome in former Louisiana running back Emory Hunt and two-time Super Bowl champ Bryant McFadden. And B-Mac, we've talked about this Notre Dame team since they lost to Northern Illinois. And you remember that after they lost that game, Riley Leonard goes into Marcus Freeman's office. And much like what you said about Ohio State saying that loss to Michigan was a blessing in disguise, Marcus Freeman said, "You are going to be thankful for this loss." And he said, "Thankful? Well, look what has happened. Notre Dame is in the semis. Riley Leonard and this defense continuing to produce." Your reaction?
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. And, you know, leading up to this ball game, I, for one, felt like Notre Dame would be in place to win this ball game, even with a Carson Beck, a healthy Carson Beck. And I know Emory felt the same way as well. And the reason why I'm not surprised, when you look at offenses that have been successful against Georgia, right? They've always had a +1 at the quarterback position. You go look at Jalen Milroe and what he did against UGA's defense earlier in the year. You go look at what Haynes King did against UGA's defense. Even though they lost in overtime, he was overly successful against their defense because he became a +1, either through improvising or just QB design running plays. And you look at the athletic ability that Haynes King has, Riley Leonard has that same athletic ability, if not more, in terms of being able to be a willing participant in the running game. So when you have that element against UGA's defense, there lies the opportunity to be successful. And that's what Riley Leonard did. I love his style of play because it is so dirty, it's so grimy. There's nothing flashy about Riley Leonard's game. It's all about guts and just finding a way to claw and scratch to do what you need to do. And that's what he did. When you look at his numbers, it doesn't wow you, but he was so impactful in this ball game. And that's what he needs to do, because that's what he did at Duke when he was healthy. And now we're starting to see the best Riley Leonard surface in the more critical moments of their season for the Fighting Irish.
And Emory, he had to step up with the loss of Jeremiah Love, who injured his knee in this game. So Riley Leonard takes a bigger role in the run game, and they use the run game a lot with Riley Leonard as a dual-threat quarterback, but you see that he's able to make plays with his legs.
Well, what impressed me the most about Notre Dame in this ball game against Georgia is that they created explosives in all three aspects. Offense with Riley Leonard and the QB run. Once he got involved with the QB power and the QB draws, that's when they started to get those big chunks in the run game. On defense, we saw the multiple turnovers on Georgia's side of things. So the defense of Notre Dame created those explosive plays, and also on special teams coming out of half. The big kickoff return for a touchdown. So when you're able to generate these explosives in all three facets, you're going to win a lot of ball games. They won tonight. Riley Leonard did a great job being a complement of the run game, because I was disappointed that they didn't get the running backs involved a lot in the run game, and I thought they should have. But at least we saw Riley Leonard take control and got the productive runs when they needed him to get those productive runs. And in the passing game, he was efficient. But this was all about the team effort. Every aspect of this football team created and generated an explosive play, which is why they got the win.
B-Mac, Emory, you know we like to shout out guys a lot here. We shouts to this guy, shouts to that guy. Shouts to Al Golden. I mean, his defense, 4 sacks. They gave up just 62 yards on the ground, creating chaos. You saw 4th down stops. You saw turnover on downs. You saw disruption. What impressed you about this Notre Dame defense in this game?
How they made Gunnar Stockton look like this was his first start. That was the key. If you can jump on him early, he won't get an opportunity to establish confidence. And to your point, Al Golden had his players, they were dialed in, they executed, and most importantly, they were the more physical team on the football field. And Gunner made some plays. He competed, but for 4 quarters, it was hard for him to sustain that level of play. And this has been the Notre Dame's defense that we've seen over the last few weeks. You know, you talk about what happened earlier in the year against Northern Illinois. That feels like it was 3 years ago, because what we've seen since then was a different ball club on either side of the football field, especially their defense. And remember, they were missing some key contributors as well, but we didn't really feel it because the other guys stepped up and they lived up to the billing. So this has been a very, very feisty group on all 3 levels. I love the guys in the secondary. They always playing sticky coverage. And the thing I love about their defense in totality, guys, they rarely miss tackles. That is the great sign of watching a really, really good defense. Watch how they tackle. Do you see missed opportunities? Do you see opportunities to get yacked? You don't see that with Notre Dame. And once again tonight in New Orleans, they did a great job getting the ball carrier down, not allowing extra yards.
And that's a perfect example of a well-coached team right there, of wrapping guys up. You see Notre Dame's linebackers, they're getting after it.
Yeah, and you talk about Al Golden, Marcus Freeman and his staff did a great job. Because Freeman, you talk about that, hockey line change on 4th down for the 4th and short.
Yeah, that confused Georgia.
It confused Georgia, got them to jump offside. That allowed Notre Dame to extend the drive and run out some more clock. But talk about the defense. They played the run on the way to the quarterback. And we saw this defense, to B-Mac's point, just hit these Georgia backs, force a key fumble on one of the first drives of the game when they were driving down for what looked to be a touchdown, knocked the ball out of running back's hands, jumped on it. They got key sack after key sack, got key pressure. They minimized the big plays in the passing game. So for me, this defense really led from the front. The offense kind of held it steady. They didn't do too much offensively, but it was a defense and special teams that kind of led them from the front and allowed Notre Dame to knock out Georgia.
Notre Dame earning its 12th straight win since that embarrassing loss to Northern Illinois as they advance to the College Football Playoff semifinals, where they will meet Penn State in the Orange Bowl in Miami 1 week from today. And how about Notre Dame getting it done? You thought, oh man, this team can't do big things. Well, they can. That was the only loss of the season, and they win 13 games. Notre Dame, what a season it has been. They win 13 games in a season for the first time in school history. Who cares about that loss to Northern Illinois right now? Now you're going to take on Penn State for a chance to play for the national championship. Coming up, much more ahead. We're down to the Final Four in the College Football Playoff. Notre Dame against Penn State, Ohio State against Texas will set the stage for the semis. Next on Game Day Scoreboard.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you.
Big news coming out of the NFL. A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
With highlights.
What a finish at the final round of play.
And in-depth analysis.
Can they three-peat? Tony Romo joins the conversation.
What can you say about this game?
When you need your sports in a snap,
we're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
Find it on CBS Sports HQ. Streaming free anywhere you are.